Greetings and salutations, it's me, Colin Moriarty. Today I thought I'd do a Let's Play. I haven't done a Let's Play in a little while, I don't think. And I wanted to do it kind of surrounding Thanksgiving. Now I know that this is a weird game, Mega Man 3, to be using during Thanksgiving, but the reason I wanted to do Mega Man 3 was because I'm incredibly thankful for this game. This is my favorite game of all time, as I think all of you know. And I think that without it, I'd probably still be a gamer in some respect, but I don't know that I would have fallen in love with the medium as much as I have in the past. So what I wanted to do today, I'm posting this the day before Thanksgiving, is to show you why I'm so thankful for the game, but I also want to take an opportunity, ooh, that's bad. I also wanted to take an opportunity to express thanks for a bunch of other things that are going right in my life or going well, and hope to encourage you guys to see the positive in your lives as well, because I think that in the gaming industry we focus, and I certainly focus a lot, on the negative stuff and the stuff that we want to be better. And, you know, fandom, I think in a lot of ways is just rife with criticism of everything, and I think that that's normal and that's healthy and that's fine, but let's look for the good things in our lives too. So I thought that with Mega Man 3 as a great backdrop, we can talk about some of those things over the next hour or so. I don't know. I haven't played the game in a while, and we can just kind of chat, or I can chat to you guys and hopefully put a little bit of positivity into your lives. So before I go any further, I assume that many of you will watch this after Thanksgiving here in 2018, but for those of you that are watching it before or are watching it on Thanksgiving, perhaps you're waiting for food to be ready or your family's digesting or whatever the case might be, I wanted to wish you all a very happy and healthy Thanksgiving, and I hope that you and yours are doing extremely well and that you enjoy this time of year as much as I do. You know, I wish that I could be with my family, but I'm not this year. I'm going to go home in a couple weeks to see everybody, which will be fun. Oops, I missed that one. So, you know, I'm looking forward to that as well. But why do I love Mega Man 3 so much? Well, Mega Man 3 came out in 1990, and I received it for Christmas when I think I was in first grade. And although Dagan and I, my brother Dagan, who you guys might know from the Knockback series, Dagan and I used to rent Mega Man 2 all the time. As I've told you guys, they eventually gave it to us. The video store, they made so much money off of us, they eventually just gave us Mega Man 2. And Mega Man 3 was this game I was really looking forward to. I had, you know, some of the advertisements from Nintendo Power on my wall in my room and the drawings of the Robot Masters, and I was just really excited about it. And I ended up falling in love with it. And I have to qualify that Mega Man 3 being my favorite game of all time doesn't really necessarily mean I think it's the best game of all time. I don't think you can make the case for that necessarily. Maybe you could. But for me, it's a game that I'm incredibly thankful for. So here we're on the first boss already. His name is Magnet Man. Little funny anecdote for you guys who don't know. Used to dress up as Magnet Man when I was a kid. I had this Fisher-Price little magnet that came with like this science set. It was like this gigantic yellow and red magnet. I used to rubber band it to my head and run around my house. So maybe we'll find pictures of that one day. What I'd really love to do is find the magnet so I can just relive those nostalgic yesteryears, as it were, for me. So Magnet Man's down. We have 7 more Robot Masters to go. But here, sorry, I'm bending down to get my notebook. I wanted to note, you know, I noted a few things that I'm thankful for as well that I wanted to talk to as we went through the stages. And I think the first thing that I'm really thankful for, as I'm always thankful for this year and all years, is for my family. And, you know, without my family, and I think a lot of us feel the same way, but without family, I mean, who knows who we would be, where we would have ended up. And, you know, what kind of person I might have become today. And I think I've turned into a pretty good person. I think I've turned into a pretty solid person. Solid, no pun intended, since we're about to go fight Hardman. So I wanted to express thanks first and foremost to my family. And for all that they've done to me, especially the last year and a half or 2 years of my life, which have been quite tumultuous, as many of you guys know. You know, I lost a lot of friends, a lot of people kind of turned their backs on me, but man, you really can rely on your family to always have your back. And so I want to give a shout out not only to my mom and dad, but to my 3 siblings, Dagan, Dana, and Allie, and to my cousins, Jamie, Jr., Allie, Elizabeth, and my aunts and uncles, Aunt Joni, Aunt Carla, Uncle John, Uncle Mike, nieces and nephews, Declan, Finley, Graydon, you know, Dashel, Lilia, Ayla. They're all so important to me, and I'm so thankful. Sorry, I'm having a hard time talking and playing at the same time, as one often does. Just going to slide right through and use that. So I'm so thankful for them, and, you know, I miss them a lot. I'm out here in California. I've been out in California since the summer of 2007. I don't get home a lot. My family all is on the East Coast in New York, on Long Island, and then actually a lot of us are in Virginia now, and have been since the early aughts in the Richmond area. So I really miss them a lot, and I want to give a lot of thanks to them as well, and show appreciation for the rock-solid nature in which they've treated me, you know, my whole life, but apparently, you know, especially rather these past 2 years, as, you know, I've gone through some trials and tribulations, and they really have shown a lot of love towards me. Sorry that Wi-Fi connection thing has popped up. I don't know what that means. I didn't even know I was connected to Wi-Fi here. Oh man, I'm messing up. All right, so we're moving forward through the rest of the stage. And you're seeing some of the graphical hitches on the right, by the way, that's, in the game. I'm playing, by the way, on the Mega Man Legacy Collection on PlayStation 4. I'm sorry that you can hear the clicky X and square buttons on my controller. Nothing I can really do about that, unfortunately. A lot of slowdown there. Yikes. Okay, so we've navigated that. This part can get a little hairy. All right, oops, let's keep going. There's a little trick you can do with the bees where you can scroll them off the screen, which is kind of fun. We'll fight Proto Man here. This is actually the most annoying Proto Man stage, or Proto Man fight, because of the uneven ground. It's a little hard to dodge him. So I just want to stay on top of him. All right, he's dead. We're almost to Hard Man. So, I know that not everyone out there, you and I, and I'm talking to you specifically, whoever's listening to this out there, I know you and I have had long and candid conversations about many issues in the past as we've done podcasts and videos and played games together and enjoyed each other's company. Some of you have been fans of mine for over 10 years, and I know that some of you have difficult family lives, and I know that for a lot of you this time of year is maybe difficult, and I want to wish you the best too. I know that some of you, your family's far away, some of you are in the military, some of you are estranged from your family or having troubles, and I just want you to know that there are people out there that care about you. I care about you. And I hope you're doing very well as you navigate through this holiday season, because I know that it's not easy for everyone out there as well. But I hope that you are able to find things that you're grateful for, as this video is all about trying to show thanks, trying to show gratefulness for the things that have gone right in our lives. So that's 2 enemies down. We can go to Top Man now. Always a little mystified by Top Man. He's a little bit of a punk. I like the design, though, like with the wheels on his feet and stuff. Pretty cool stuff. So we've shown thanks for family, and I want to, really, again, thank them for everything they've done to me. But I also have to show thanks for friends that have been there for me as we've moved through, life. I'm 34 years old now, but also as we moved through the last 2 years. The last 2 years of my life, or a year and a half, ever since everything went down with me, and I think we could, or many, I don't want to say we all, but I think many of us agree that I was treated incredibly unfairly, and I had to kind of deal with the repercussions of all of that. But there were people that stuck by me. For all the people that didn't stick by me, for all the people that kind of turned their back on me, and for how painful that was, I really do want to give a lot of thanks to the people that have stuck by me and did show me a lot of love when I needed it most. And I think I got to start first and foremost with, my best friend Ramon, who now gratefully lives in LA, but we don't see each other very often. Getting around Los Angeles is a little bit of a pain in the ass if you guys don't know. It's just so crowded, and there's just so many people here, and the traffic is just so insane at all times. And so he lives like 6 or 7 miles from me, but that might as well be like across the country most of the time. But it's awesome having him out here, and I'm so thankful and grateful for him. He reaches out to me, checks in on me. He's working hard. He's a waiter, and he's doing some music. He's also a professional working musician, a touring musician. So I want to give thanks to him because he really shows me a lot of love, and I'm so grateful that he and I had met in college back at Northeastern when we were freshmen back in 2003. We've been friends for over 15 years now, best friends, and I love him a great deal, and so I wanted to show him a lot of love here on Thanksgiving and show my gratefulness for him and his presence in my life. Another person I want to show gratefulness for and thanks for is my best friend from home, like my childhood best friend, Mike Pope. And I haven't seen Mike since he got married, actually, 3 years ago. I was obviously in his wedding party. We were in Connecticut. We had a really great time. And I haven't actually seen him in the flesh since that point, but we talk, and I love him and his family a great deal. His parents actually reached out to me with all the wildfires that were going on here in California recently. Some of the fires in Malibu were actually very close to where Aaron and I live, so we were thankfully spared from the flames that have taken so much from so many people, even though we saw smoke and all that. But nonetheless, they checked in on me, and I'm very appreciative and deeply grateful for that. But I'm so grateful for Mike because he's one of those friends that no matter where you are in your life, and I think we all have friends like this, or at least I hope we all have friends like this, that you don't really miss a beat, like you can just get together and enjoy each other's company. And I know that when I see him next, that we're going to have a great time together, and his lovely wife, of course, Cassie, and they just had a child, a son, so I'm so excited to meet him as well. So I want to show thankfulness as we wrap up Top Man stage for my best childhood friend, Mike Pope, And how sad I am, by the way, we grew up across the street from each other, and my dad just sold his house and moved out towards the Hamptons, actually. He built a house out east on Long Island, and so we're no longer across the street from each other. And I was actually thinking about buying my childhood house just to retain it and maybe rent it out and kind of maintain some sort of nostalgic tether, as it were. But, yeah, decided against it. So we're going to move to Shadow Man's stage, and as we do that, I want to show thankfulness for, a person that's in my life every day. And, how grateful I am for my girlfriend, Erin. And for those of you that don't know, my girlfriend, Erin, and I met about the same time Ramon and I met. We met when we were freshmen in college, and Erin was a nursing student, and she was roommates and friends with my friend, or our friend, Abby. And my friend, Abby, who's a lobbyist now in Washington, D.C., was at the time a poli-sci major. And so we had some classes together as freshmen, and we became pretty close, and that's how I met Erin. And we just had such a wonderful time in college, and she was such a great friend, and they were all great friends. I actually was really close to a group of girls that, other than Ramon, were really the people I was closest to in college, and Erin was in that group along with our friend Abby, who we just had the pleasure of seeing a few weeks ago. So I'm so grateful for Erin, because she really, I apologize to her sometimes, because we only started dating in 2015, so that was, 12 years after we had met. And, I was out of a relationship, she was out of a relationship, and we had started talking in the time after that. And, she was always the one. I always considered her kind of the one that got away from me. And, I was in a relationship in college. She was in some relationships in college. The timing was just never right. And, I'm so grateful that she's in my life now, but I do apologize to her on occasion, because I'm sorry that you have to be in my life at such a hectic time. It's such an abnormal time, as I've started, my second business as we moved from San Francisco and all of that. So, I'm so grateful for having such a strong and tenacious woman in my life that has shown me so much love and so much kindness and so much patience as I've gone through my own trials and tribulations. And I don't know where I'd be without her. Truth be told, I just don't know what I would do without her sometimes. And it makes me sad, because sometimes, we fight, and we like any other couple, and I take, occasionally, and I take it, seriously, because I'm like, I have such a special woman in my life and such a special partner, and I would never want to do anything to ruin that. And so, I'm so thankful that she's in my life, that she's been here for me, and that she's, been patient as I've kind of found my way through this new world of mine. And she's just been I died. She's just been an absolute rock. And, what can you say about that other than thank you? So let me just get through the rest of this. Oh, I'm really kind of screwing up here. Let me get through the rest of this nonsense, and we'll get the Shadow Man and beat him. I've always been really fond of this stage, by the way, because, I don't know, the bricks remind me a little bit of like Heatman's stage. There's like a little bit of an overlap between Mega Man 3 and 2 here for me, and those parachute enemies are cool as well. So let me just get through. You can actually tease these guys out by jumping out like that if you want. I used to do that when I was younger, but I guess I'm rushing a little bit. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully I don't die anymore. There we go. You gotta slide. I almost died the same exact way. I almost forgot exactly what I was supposed to be doing. And so here we are. Now, the interesting thing about Shadow Man, as we kind of stop talking about thankfulness and just talk about Mega Man for a minute, the cool thing about Shadow Man is, or Top Man's weapon, Top Spin, is that it's not a projectile. It's the first weapon in the series that you actually use your body, and you spin by pressing the attack button. You see that again in Mega Man 5 with Charge Man's slide or charge kick. So anyway, half the Robot Masters are defeated now, and with Shadow Man's Shadow Blade, which is a very useful weapon, one of the most useful, if not the most useful weapon in the game, we will move on to Spark Man's stage in short order. So let me consult my list here. We've talked about family, how thankful I am for my parents, how thankful I am for my siblings, my cousins, my uncles, aunts, my nieces, and my nephews. I think what we also talked about is, let's see here. We talked about Ramon, we talked about Erin, we talked about Mike Pope. I think the thing that I want to talk about next, if I might, is how thankful I am for all of you. And I talked a little bit about this on the 50th episode of Fireside Chats. For those of you who are unaware, I do a series of podcasts. I do 3 podcasts every week. I do Fireside Chats, which is this eclectic interview series. I do a series called Knockback with my brother Dagan, which is all about nostalgia and retro things, so movies and games and TV shows, etc. And then I do a show with Chris Raygun, the comedian and YouTuber Chris Raygun, where we do a show called Sacred Symbols, all about PlayStation. And I talked about on episode 50 of Fireside Chats how thankful I was for the audience, and it was a very emotional and very resonant episode. It was very emotional for me. I think it resonated a lot with the audience. And it's funny because Aaron interviewed me in that one, and we weren't even sure we were really going to publish it. I was like, maybe this is a little too real and a little too raw. But I'm glad that we decided to publish it. I think it was important that you guys heard it. And, you know, I don't know what I can really say about how grateful I am for having you all in my life. Like, I said it on Fireside Chats, and I really mean it. And I want to reiterate it for those of you who didn't hear it. You guys really saved me, you know? And when things were really dark and dire for me, and I felt like I was kind of losing my mind and losing everything I built and everything I worked for, you guys stuck by me in thousands, tens of thousands, and really over time, hundreds of thousands of you. And there's over 5,000 of you supporting me on Patreon. I mean, it's an amazing thing. And so I wouldn't be able to live this life, and I don't know that I would have been able to move on in such a successful, I don't want to say successful way. It's been a great success, but that's not even what's really important. It's such a, how would I put it? I was able to move on in a healthy way, or at least as healthy a way as I possibly could. And I just wouldn't have been able to do that without you guys. And I'm grateful, you know, I really am. So, let's see if we can coerce this guy out. This is one of the harder parts of the game. He won't, is he stuck? Interesting. Okay, I'm in a little bit of trouble here. Yeah. So, I can't believe I'm dying. I guess I'm talking too much, but, you know, without you guys and without your help and without your assistance, you know, financial or otherwise, just supporting the show on free feeds, just, I don't know, just subscribing, leaving nice reviews, telling your friends. You know, it's so funny how I receive messages on Twitter all the time from people that are like, you know, I had no idea you were doing anything, and so told me, or I found it on, you know, I found you on Patreon, or I found you on YouTube, or, you know, a friend of mine told me that you were still back in the game and doing a podcast again and all this kind of stuff. And so I'm just thankful for that, you know, because word of mouth is really important. And, you know, your guys' support has been really essential. And I know that there's plenty of competition out there for this kind of thing. I mean, I'm doing Let's Plays. Everyone does Let's Plays. I do podcasts. Everyone does podcasts. But I think that I bring a little something special to it. And I'm glad that at least some of you think so as well. And we're able to kind of continue our relationship with one another. So, you know, as I move through the rest of 2018 and into 2019, as we reach this Thanksgiving season and then into the holiday season, I'd be loath not to mention how thankful I am for all of you out there that support me, no matter how you support me, from the very highest Patreon supporters that give me, you know, a lot of money very kindly, to people that just occasionally tune in and show their support that way. I'm thankful. So here we're going to fight Sparkman. I've always loved this design. Shadowblade does him in very quickly. So thank you all out there for supporting me and showing me so much love and sticking with me. And for all the people that over time have said, you know, I'll follow you anywhere. I'll follow anything you do. A lot of you have proven that. And, you know, as I've kind of, I tried to explore this political avenue and kind of found how unhappy it was making me. That was a difficult revelation because I thought that that's what I really wanted, but it ended up not being at all what I wanted. And I'm so grateful that you guys were patient while I tried to figure that out on my own. And, you know, enjoyed the content, watched the content, and I kind of evolved into something a little more eclectic and a little more Colin, let's say, which, you know, includes politics, but also includes a lot of games and nerd culture and candid conversations and things like that. I think that's really a lot of fun, you know? So here we are on Snake Man stage. And as we go through Snake Man stage, the next thing that I want to show thanks for is my dog Lola. I know this is a funny one, and I say my dog loosely. She's our dog. She's really Aaron's dog. Aaron's the one who introduced her to me when we started dating. At that time, Lola, I think, was 1.5 or 2 years old. She's 5, almost 6 now. She'll be 6 in the spring. And, you know, I didn't know that I loved dogs. In fact, I grew up a cat person, so it was shit. So I almost died there again. So it was like a really quite revelatory moment for me to be like, oh, I like dogs. I didn't know that I loved dogs so much. And Lola has been a godsend and a blessing to me. And I know that this is a little trite, but if you'll bear with me, it's true that no matter what's going on in your life, these creatures, these loyal and kind and sweet creatures, these wonderful creatures, they have no idea what's going on in your regular life. They have no idea what's going on with you professionally or personally. They're just there for you. And when I was really in dark spaces, you know, over the last couple of years, and when I really needed someone, and Aaron was working and the family might have been at work, or I couldn't get in touch with anyone, you know, Lola's just there cuddling up with me. And Aaron makes fun of both of us, I guess, but, you know, Lola doesn't know any better, but she makes fun of us because Lola's like somewhat obsessed with me. She's all over me all the time, and she always wants to be next to me and with me and near me, and we just have a wonderful relationship. And I just didn't know that I had that in me. I didn't know that I loved dogs like I loved them. And, you know, you'd walk down the street and you see people walking dogs all the time, And I would just ignore them. And I lived with dogs. I lived with a dog in college. I lived with a dog, you know, and I lived with Greg for a while. And I just didn't really understand what the allure was. And I finally, with Lola, with this lovely Boston Terrier, this amazing creature, I really discovered for the first time what I love about these dogs. And retroactively, I think I understand the dogs that I've lived with and have encountered in the past a little bit better. And so I'm not only grateful to have Lola in my life, and I'm not only so thankful for that, but I'm grateful that it's opened my eyes to this whole sphere, right? And it's funny how dog owners on the street talk to each other, and I'm kind of one of those people now, and I'm always looking at dogs and smiling at them on the street while I would just ignore them and walk by without giving them a second thought. And you can just see that some people react like that and some people don't. It's just like a little club. It doesn't. Oh, that's bullshit. It doesn't matter if you get it or not. It simply matters that, you know, your mind is open to it. Oh God, I got to do the whole stage again. Oh, whatever. We'll do it again. So, I can't believe I've already died 3 times. That's incredible, by the way. So, yeah, I'm just so grateful to have this canine companion in my life, and she just always makes me laugh. And I was telling Erin, you know, I don't take many pictures of things, you know, just in my everyday life. I just feel like we're on our phones a little too much, and I'm certainly as guilty as anyone for that. But, you know, I look at my pictures sometimes, like when I'm on the plane traveling or whatever, and I'm kind of going through and deleting things, and I swear to God, half of my pictures are more on my phone or of Lola, which is so funny. Just she always makes me laugh. She's always doing something, you know, not intentionally, but she's always doing something funny or cute or adorable or worthwhile. And Erin, you know, is an ER nurse, so she's at work for, you know, 12 hours at a time, 13, 14 hours at a time, 3 days a week. And so we try to keep in touch with each other over text while we can, and I'm always sending her cute pictures of Lola. I think I'm talking too much because I'm just not playing this very well. All right, we're moving. If I'm not playing well now, I can't imagine how poorly I'm going to play when we have to do the stages again to fight the Mega Man 2 enemies. But we'll worry about that when we get there. We still have to get through Snake Man. And I can't believe I died in such a cheap way. I forgot that happens if you try to stand on the platforms as they come up. It's kind of bullshit. Alright, so we're moving. Music's pretty rockin' too, right? Funny note, this is Dagan, my brother, who a lot of you know from our Knockback podcast that I mentioned before. This is his favorite enemy and his favorite stage in all the Mega Man games. It's a great stage. A lot of slowdown, a lot going on in the stage, but nonetheless. I just love the animations. The animations are so beautiful. Alright, so this jump's always a little tricky. Got it. Alright, so we'll go up here, grab this. We can just ignore him. I love the contour on the, like the way they make it look like it's circular, even though it's a flat image. These tubes, these cylinders, just by using the different gradients, it's really well done. Alright, so we gotta be careful here. I was a little bit dumb before. So I gotta remember to jump here. There we go. Oh, see, it almost happened to me again. I would have lost my mind if that happened again. Okay. A lot of slowdown here as well. Okay, we're almost there. Try to get them to go out of their cloud above them or right next to you so you can shoot them or just avoid them without any trouble because they'll knock you right in. That's a pretty tough part of the stage. Needleman's weapon is what works on Snake Man, but I don't have it, so we're just gonna... You can actually conceivably start with Snake Man if you wanted to. I don't, but... He just does this thing where he runs around and shoots these search snakes out, which you can also destroy if you hit them enough. It causes a massive slowdown. Between the snakes, his movement, all the bullets, I'm fine. There's just so much slowdown. And the slowdown sucks sometimes because the meter or the timer for getting hit for invisibility doesn't reset, so the slowdown can really screw you. Anyway, that's Snake Man down, leaving us with 2 more, and I can finally move on to what else I'm grateful on as I consult my list here. So we'll wait for that for a moment, as we get the Search Snake. Not an incredibly useful weapon, but we'll use it on Gemini Man, who we're going to go to next. Gemini Man, one of my favorite Robot Master designs. All right. So Gemini Man, great design. Cool idea for a robot, too. It splits into two, as you'll find out. So the next thing that I want to express gratefulness for and thankfulness for as we approach Thanksgiving here in 2018 is that I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful that I'm, relatively healthy and here on this planet. And so many people are struggling. There's so many people out there that don't have their health, that don't have the advantage of, just living their lives without worry. And while I have my own issues, and I've had my own issues in the past for sure, I actually had skin cancer. As you guys know, I've had pretty serious GI problems, specifically with my colon. I've had more colonoscopy and endoscopies than your average 80-year-old man. So I've had my problems, and I've had things that I've definitely been worried about in the past. But, I generally have my health. I am generally a healthy person, and there's a lot to be grateful for there because, man, in this modern age and with science and medicine being so aware of what's going on with people, and we're so, able now to identify problems and help fix them for people, and by we, I mean doctors, people much smarter and more educated than I am. It's cool that, for the time being, at least, I have my health as I'm 34 years old. I just turned 34 in October, and I think we should all be grateful for that if we have our health, if we have, our faculties, and we are able to, use our extremities and think clearly and all of that kind of stuff. I think that that's something that we go through life not being thankful for. I think that's something that we go through life taking for granted until it's no longer there. And I think we've all been in situations, or at least for me, I've known people that have had that revelation perhaps too late. And you don't ever want to be in that situation. I think it's important to remain grateful for the health and for the time you're given. And, it's a little bit dark for me, to talk about the time you're given and the kind of happenstance of being on this planet and having health and being with those you love, because, as a lot of you know, I am an atheist, so I believe that this is the time. I believe that the time we have now is happenstance, and I believe that we have to use it to the best of our ability. And so I try to really remain mindful of that as I move through my life. Oops. And, with some of the healthcare scares I've had, and also the health scares of those around me. My uncle has had some pretty significant problems over the last 10 years, who I love a great deal. You guys might know my Uncle Mike from, he was on an episode of Fireside Chats, actually, and you guys really liked him. He was in the episode about New Year's resolutions almost a year ago. He had a heart attack when I was in college and open heart surgery, and he recently had kind of a small stroke that was actually because of a negative reaction to some of the medicines he was taking for his knee surgery. He had knee surgery, and so it's important to remain grateful and thankful because you just don't know why or when things are going to turn, and it's scary out there. I was really scared about a month ago when my uncle was going through some of that stuff, and I'm so grateful that he's with us still today and he has his health. But since we're talking about our individual health, I am definitely grateful that I have mine, and I'm thankful that I haven't, for all of the things that I've gone through. Yes, I've had endoscopies and colonoscopies and some invasive procedures, and I've had cancer sliced off my face and leaving a gigantic scar on my nose, and I've had all of that. But it could be worse. It could definitely be worse, So we have to remain mindful, and we have to remain in that positive space, I think, as much as we can. And it's hard. It's so hard to remain positive. I've noticed a lot recently that I've been having a harder time not a harder time remaining positive. I guess that's not true. I've been trying to remain in that space and checking myself when I get out of that space. So, a good example is like sometimes I tweet things and then I just delete them because I'm just, I'm like, why am I contributing to this negativity? There's too much of it. There's too much negativity out there. So we're almost through. This part's a little tough. We made it. We're almost to the end of the stage. So yeah, we've all lost people we've loved over time. And one day, we might put people in those positions, or we're going to put those people in those positions just by the happenstance of nature, by the fact that we are all mortal. And so I think it's important that we remain mindful of that. Oop. Hopefully it doesn't kill me. And that we remain thankful for the time we do have, whether you're a person of faith, whether you're not a person of faith, whether you're agnostic or deist or whatever the case might be. Just be grateful that we're here at all, experiencing this, able to do this, have agency and free will over our lives. There's a lot to be thankful for there in that sphere. So I'm glad that we were able to touch on that as I moved through Gemini Man stage. And we now have one more stage to go through after we get the Gemini Laser, which is Needle Man stage. And we're going to get into some kind of more obtuse things, I guess, as we move through the things that I'm thankful for. And the next thing that I want to show gratefulness for as we move through into Needleman stage is I'm thankful for my business and for the ability to live a life. You know, in a world where, well, I don't want to speak about a world because much of the world lives in relative poverty compared to the way we live in the United States and in the West. And that in and of itself is a terrible thing. You know, just the luck of the draw of being a born American. I'm proud of being American. You guys all know that. I'm very proud of being an American. But we were all just happened to have been born here. We didn't choose this life. And so we should be very grateful and thankful just to have the opportunity to not live hand to mouth, to not live in destitution, to not know where we're going to get our next meal or our next drink of water or whatever the case might be. Maybe we don't have running water. Maybe we don't have power. We don't have access to education for ourselves or our children. Just in living in a modern Western society like the United States, or like many of you are European or Australian or whatever the case might be, we have much to be thankful for just in that very specific regard. But I must say that, you know, I've worked really hard in my life, and I'm thankful that my parents instilled in me a work ethic and the ability, you know, they really did teach me that if you just try and you work hard, there's no guarantees of success in life. You can still fail, but you can do all these things to mathematically augment your ability to succeed. And they taught me that one of the things that you can do to really make that happen and to make that come to life is you can work hard and you can endeavor and you can take risks and do all those kinds of things. And so I've done that. I've done that multiple times. You know, I left a very comfortable job at IGN to found a company, and obviously that didn't go the way I had hoped, but I left it all on the line and did it again and found success there. And I'm incredibly grateful for that. And I guess this ties back into my thankfulness for all of you out there, because again, without all of you supporting me, it doesn't matter. I can put whatever I want out in the world, but if no one's there supporting it, watching it, listening to it, then what does it really matter? It's like a whole, you know, does a tree make any noise when it falls in the forest if no one's there to hear it? Well, it's a similar thing. I can put whatever I want on YouTube or podcast services, but you guys are there supporting it and supporting it loyally and supporting it, you know, vigorously and vehemently. And I'm so thankful for that, as you guys already know. But I'm really grateful that it's all worked out for me in that very specific regard, because it didn't have to. You know, a lot of people try hard, a lot of people work hard, and it doesn't work out. I think luck is a major component of anyone's success. And, you know, anyone that doesn't acknowledge that, I think, is silly, you know, because it's so obvious that luck plays such a huge role in anyone's success, whether you're an athlete, whether you found a business, whether you just got a job at your dream job, whether you just work anywhere or do anything. I think that skill and hard work and all those things are huge components, huge parts of the mathematical equation. But certainly, I think we can all acknowledge that luck plays a part there as well. So I'm thankful for being lucky, and I'm thankful for being so lucky to have encountered so many of you out there. And I'm thankful for having the opportunity over and over again to kind of live in this world and live this life and do what I do. It's awesome. So for people that are unfamiliar with Mega Man 3, at this point we have to go back to all the stages and fight the bosses from Mega Man 2. And I remember the first time that I did this when I was a kid. I remember it. It's amazing, like how mind-blowing that was. So as we go through Sparkman stage, we're going to fight Metal Man and Quick Man again. And you can see that the stages are a little bit destroyed. The enemies are pretty hard to fight, so we're going to do the best we can to do that without dying. But here you might remember there was a ladder, and now we're going to use Rush Coil, etc. and so on. So I don't know if this episode's going the way that, you know, I hope that you guys are understanding what the point of this episode is, and I hope that it's resonating with you. I hope you guys aren't bored or think it's stupid for me to show thanks and gratefulness for the things that are going right in my life. Again, we give too much energy and focus sometimes on the things that are just not going right for any of us, and that's easy. And we all do it, and we should all do that because it's catharsis, and it's important to acknowledge that sometimes things just aren't going well. But I really do feel like we owe it to ourselves, owe it to those around us, owe it to each other, owe it to our society and our well-being as a society to acknowledge that not everything's terrible. And this Donald Trump derangement syndrome, everyone hates each other, politics is divided and divisive and all of that. We gotta be better to each other, and we gotta be better about acknowledging shit, everything that goes right. Not acknowledging shit. So here we'll use Shadow Blades. So there's Metal Man. So it's going very well. Knee tank. I actually think I probably should have used magnets, but yeah, magnets would have been a better idea. Oh well. That was a waste of an E-Tank. It's been a while. All right. These spikes will kill you automatically if you hit them. So you have to be very careful. So we're moving through the rest of the stage. As you can see, the stage is still pretty much as long. It's just split up with 2 boss fights. So you're not like going through necessarily a longer stage, which is nice. Oops. And I am definitely not playing very well. This is definitely not Colin at his height. I think I'm getting a little worse at video games as I get older. I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but I think I definitely am. There were things that I was like really young when I was beating like Kid Icarus and stuff like that, and I play that game now on Virtual Console, and like I can barely beat the game. So I think things change as you get older. Our dexterity, our stamina, as it were, I think it's a little worse for the wear. Crazy slowdown there, too. So here I think we'll use Gemini. We can also use Snake. Quickman's annoying as hell. But he doesn't have that uneven floor like he does in Mega Man 2, which makes him a little more manageable. Oops. Nice. The shitty thing about Gemini lasers, you can only shoot one at a time, so if you miss, it's just going to bounce around until it just goes off the screen. Oh my god. Oh my god, I keep shooting it the wrong way. I'm really not playing very well today, guys. I'm sorry about that. But I think we're going to be alright. Nice. Okay, we got him. Whew, that was a little too close. Colin's... I'm talking to the third person for some reason. Colin's not showing you everything he's got today. But that's not what it's about. That's not what this video is about. So let's move on to Needleman stage. This one's probably the most annoying one. So we might as well get it out of the way. Here we're going to fight Airman and Crashman. So I want to get back to what I was talking about with being grateful for, you know, just being able to live, right? It's always astonishing to me to hear stories of how much people struggle and why I try to give to charity when I can and try to kind of, you know, last year, as you guys know, I gave $5,000 away to my audience to help pay for school books and all that kind of stuff. I think what's important for us to remember collectively as we move into this Thanksgiving season and into this holiday season is to just remember that everyone has a different kind of perception of what success is, what having and not having something is, and it's all relative. And I think that we often lose sight of the fact as we just drop a $10 bill or a $5 bill into the Salvation Army bucket this holiday season that that's not a lot. But man, that is a lot. I mean, that's a lot of money. That really can feed someone, that can clothe someone. So I want to encourage you guys, if you guys are doing okay out there, though, you know, some of you guys out there have some disposable income or some time to spare, I hope that you guys choose to give and to not only to give money and time, but to just be mindful of that not everyone has something and that we all could use a little help sometimes. I think that's really important for us to remember. Let's grab this E-Tank. I'm not playing very well, so I will assuredly probably need it. I don't think we'll be able to kill him in time before he turns into here. So this is Airman. We're going to use Spark Shock, but we're actually going to stay on the Pea Shooter for now. So you got to... I'm going to try to sneak a few bullets through there if I can. This one's going to be hard to avoid. Yeah. After this one, he'll jump to my side and I can finally nail him with... Oops, I didn't mean to do that. With... Spark Shock. Ooh, that was close. That was a little too close. Holy moly. Okay. So here we need to be really mindful of the rush jet. I'm actually just going to kill myself because I don't have any energy, and I'll just start from right there. Now, this entire thing requires rush jet and a little bit of concentration, so I'm just going to play, and then we'll talk on the other side. Because this is a little bit of an annoying part of the game. And if you keep jumping, by the way, you use a little bit less energy, which is nice. And jumping also confuses the dragonfly enemies. Shit. Now, what's important here is to leave some of these behind. You don't want to just grab them to grab them, because if you die, the ones that you've taken will not replenish unless you lose all your lives. So you can actually just be completely shit out of luck here. So you got to be very careful. I'm going to do this dangerous slide and come back just to make sure we have enough. Skip that one. So I've left a few behind just in case I die, and God only knows that that's going to happen. So we're almost to the end here. Okay. Pretty cool how this stage turns from day to night too, right? A little bit of a Crash Man vibe from Mega Man 2 with this stage. All right. We're moving, we're cruising. Some propeller mets up here that we have to deal with. Ah. He got away. Come on down. Come on down. There we go. All right. So we are nearly there. We'll leave that just in case we die. Well, I guess we can't die here and use it, but... So here we can use Hard Man's weapon or Top Man's weapon. Crash Man's a little bit of a pain in the ass. I'll try to use the Hard Knuckles, see how it works. Actually, let me see here. Nah, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. I used almost all the energy. Alright, well, we got him. Hard Knuckle. Alright, so half of the Mega Man 2 Robot Masters are done. We can go to the other two, and I think it's time for us to start talking again about the things we're grateful for and thankful for. So as we do that, we'll go to Gemini Man stage. Here on Gemini Man stage, we're going to fight Flash Man and Bubble Man. I think we'll use Shadow Blades on both, but we'll see how we feel when we get there. The next thing that I want to talk about that I'm grateful for is food. It's Thanksgiving. I mean, how can we ignore the food part of it? You know, I think each of us has a vice, right? Or many vices. Some of us have many vices. I don't think I have many vices. As you guys know, I have some vices. I like bourbon. I like, smoke a little bit of weed. I like, some of those things. But I really love food. And if you knew me in real life, as a few of you have gotten to know me in real life, but not many of you, that I have a gut that proves it. I look like I'm pregnant. So I really want to give a shout out to food and how much joy it brings me. We all have our different vices and the things we enjoy. And I want this to be not only this dire thing about health and, being thankful for the family and the time you have left. I don't want it to just have that complexion in this video. I want the video to also have the complexion of the things that we really do enjoy in our day-to-day lives and the things that we really, do take a great deal of pleasure in. And I think this is one of those things, I love to eat, I live to eat. And, I'm so grateful for pasta and pizza and cheeseburgers and French fries and nachos. I'm thankful for, rotisserie chickens. I'm thankful for cold cut sandwiches and boar's head and all that good stuff. I'm just thankful for all of it, my friends. Just to make sure I make this jump, I want to just be careful and just kill this extra row. And I always love when people reach out to me, especially when they're going to my stomping grounds, my childhood and teen stomping grounds of Long Island, where I was born and raised. People are always asking me for suggestions of where to eat and what to eat, and I'm always happy to provide those because we do eat well on the island. So I'm incredibly grateful for that. And it's one of my favorite things about going home. I can't wait to go home. I can't wait to see what we're going to eat when I go home, what my mom's going to cook up, what my sisters are going to cook up, and the family, the aunts, uncles, everyone's got something going. Everyone, making pasta and chicken cutlets and pork chops and all that kind of stuff. I mean, how can you not be thankful about that? So let's go to Shadow Blades and take care of Flash Man. Actually, I don't feel like... Needles are better. I don't know why I thought I should use Shadow Blades. Gotta practice, man. I really probably should have played a little bit before I did this. Oh well. So we beat him, and we move on. I'd love to hear in the comments if any of you get deep enough into this video to even see this part. I'd love to see some of the food you guys love to eat. Do we have similar... You know, I'm a savory guy. I'm thankful for savory foods. Like, I don't like... You know, I don't want to say I don't like sweets. That's not true. But I don't live to eat sweet foods. I don't really like candy. I don't really like chocolate. I don't like gum or anything like that. I do like a... Ooh, I died. I do like a good Coca-Cola every once in a while. I am a fan of Coca-Cola. And I've had to stop drinking. You know, I don't buy it and leave it in the house at all. I haven't done that in years now because, like I said, I'm getting pregnant looking. But I am thankful for that. But I'm a savory guy. I would take a French fries and a burger or a burrito or anything like that. Nachos, quesadillas, pasta, pizza, all the things that we brought up already. I would take all of that over, you know, a piece of pie or an ice cream sundae or whatever. I mean, that's just the kind of guy I am. So I'm thankful for all of that as well, all that good food. Oop. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention for a minute. I was looking at my phone like a moron. All right. My dad called me, in case you're curious. Left me a voicemail. Probably should call him back when I'm done here. I think I will do that. All right, let's see. So we're almost to the end. We're going to fight Bubble Man. That's some bitch. And here I think I got confused, because here we definitely do use Shadow Blades. I think I was confused on the last one. Again, it's been a while. I think it's been like, I don't know. I don't want to say it's been 3 years since I played, but I like all the way through, but it might have been. I think I did a Let's Play for this at Kind of Funny, like very early on in our run. So it's been a while. So I apologize. Not the greatest playthrough you've ever seen, for sure. And that's the end of Bubble Man. This leaves Shadow Man as the only stage we have to go back to before we go fight Wily. There we'll fight Woodman and Heat Man. So let's go do that now. A little bit of a rockin' jam. You know, I've always been mystified. I wonder how you guys feel about this. I've always been a little mystified by the people that don't like turkey. Like, there's a lot of turkey shit-talking going on out there. Like, they don't like the meat. They don't like turkey. And they don't appreciate Thanksgiving. Maybe they like ham. Maybe they like pork. I mean, you can eat whatever you want. Pasta's a big dish, too, in my family for Thanksgiving. But I wonder, like, how does one not like turkey? It's a little weird. Like, maybe it's being prepared for you wrong or something. I just don't understand how you could possibly feel that way. It's not exactly a thing we should be thankful for. I'm not thankful for people that don't like turkey. This junk can get a little hairy. Did it. Alright, so we're almost to Woodman stage. But yeah, I've always found it a little puzzling that people don't enjoy turkey. They don't, I don't know, man. It bothers me. It bothers me a lot. It's actually like what really bothers me. Look at Woodman. Looking like an oven mitt. Alright. Let's see. This one's a little hard. Like he definitely moves different in this than he does in Mega Man 2. It's a little annoying. Like, he's quicker, the leaves move quicker, it's harder to jump over it. There's a little bit different. It's not the same. Alright? It's not the same. So this only leaves Heat Man for us to deal with. Ah. So we'll be a little more careful here than we were the first time through Shadow Man stage, because it is a little more difficult. We want to coerce enemies out if we can. Ooh. Just gotta parry there. Those things are so annoying. They'll just bounce you right into a fucking pit. You gotta get them. All right. Now we have an option of Shadow Blades and Hard Knuckles here. I think Hard Knuckles work better if I remember correctly. So we'll see what we can do. No, they don't have Shadow Blades. Man, it really has been a while. I'm ready. I feel like I don't want to make an excuse here, but I feel like this DualShock's not really working very well when I'm turning around and trying to shoot. Like, you can hear me hitting the button, but nothing's coming out. Like, did you hear me, right? Like, I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, that's that. Now we can go to Wily's Castle. We're almost done with the game. Very exciting. We'll go fight Breakman for a minute. Proto Man. Chase after him. Go to the lab. The IBN computer. Dr. Light is thankful for the IBN computer. So for people that don't know, the story of Mega Man 3 is that Wily and Light, they used to be partners. As the story goes, they get back together for Mega Man 3, create a peacekeeping robot called Gamma, who Wily then predictably corrupts. And there he is as he goes to his castle. And by the way, this music in the first two stages of Wily's Castle, my favorite Mega Man music. Very, very, very underrated, in my opinion. Very underrated. Frustratingly underrated. Plentiful E-tanks in this game. Probably a little too many, if I'm being honest with you. These penguin enemies you might remember from the original Mega Man, which is kind of cool. They bring them back. So the one thing that I wrote on my list that I kind of wanted to wrap up with as we kind of move towards... I actually don't need that extra life, so I'm not going to bother. That we should talk about, I think, to be totally candid with each other, is I'm incredibly grateful for video games. And they've been everything to me. And as I said, I guess this is kind of a full circle thing for me, because for me, it's kind of melodramatic, I guess, but video games have saved me many times. I talked about earlier how you guys really saved me too because of the kindness and generosity you've shown me through all the trials and tribulations that I've gone through. But, very publicly and very painfully gone through all that, and you guys have been so kind to me, and I am thankful for that. But, in those quiet times, and I think we can all kind of relate to this. I know that I can relate to it, and I know that a lot of you guys out there feel the same way. Video games are just there when you really need them most. When you want those quiet moments of solitude when things aren't quite going your way or whatever the case might be. And it really can't be understated. Where would I be without this stuff? Where would I be without Mega Man 3? What if I never encountered this game at all? I'm so thankful I encountered it because, yeah, I was playing games before this, a lot of games, but this is what made me into a fan. This is what made me into a hardcore gamer, is this gameplay. This particular game just did it for me. And I'm grateful. And I know that a lot of you guys out there, I think that we've all talked flippantly. I've certainly talked flippantly in the past about video games and their usefulness and our need to even have them in society as this thing that we obsess over. And I think that that's just kind of wrong. I think that I'm wrong about that in a lot of ways. I think that it's great that we have these things that we can bond over and that we can enjoy together. And it doesn't have to be video games. I think it can be movies. It can be television shows, obviously music. I'm a huge music fan. It can be literature. It can be a lot of the things that we are able to bond over. Maybe we should really encapsulate it by being thankful that we have the time and the energy, unlike our forefathers in many regards, to even have time to dedicate to such, frivolity, as it were, when they were just trying to eat. They were subsistence farmers, or they were working in a factory, or they were a soldier, or whatever the case might be. It's really like amazing that we have this entertainment that we kind of frame our lives around when we're not working and not surviving, that we can be very thankful for and enjoy. Oh, man. There we go. So, I think about that a lot. Like, this is a luxury that we're watching this, and that I'm doing this Let's Play is a luxury, that I'm able to survive doing this Let's Play is a luxury, that I'm able to make a living doing this is a luxury, that you're able to take the time out of your day to watch it is a luxury, that all of it's a luxury. And, I don't ever want that to kind of go unnoticed, because it could be so much worse. And not too long ago, it was so much worse. I often think about, maybe it's because I study history and all that, but I often think back about the things that I studied in college and the things that I've read and the way people lived and how they had to survive and, work and, dawn till dusk and all that, no days off. And if no one's going to come and save you. There's no safety net. There's nothing for you. And I don't know, man. Like, we don't live in that world. At least, we don't here in the West live in that world. And again, it's important to kind of put that in relativistic terms, in terms of there are still people that are really struggling out there, and we should do our best to kind of help them and bring light to their plights as well. But, I've always had a problem with that term first world problem or whatever. I've always had an issue with that. Like, well, of course our problems are first world. We live in the first world. We're very lucky. It doesn't mean we're not lucky to live here, but like, what are we supposed to be worrying about right now? Well, we can worry ourselves about the plight of others, which is important, and we do that through charity, and we do that through recognition of their own plights. But, I think we should also be very grateful that, our reality happens to be one where we don't have to worry about the frivolities either. And hope to maybe get to a point in our lives, and hope to get to a point in the world where, that's true for everybody. And thankfully, statistics show that is becoming increasingly true for everyone, as capitalism and kind of technology is slowly but surely bringing people out of the darkness and out of an old way of living, where they don't have reliable water, they don't have reliable power, they don't have access to education for themselves and their children. We should be really thankful that many of us live in societies where that's just not the case. I've always found this fight really annoying. And of course, as you guys know, this was a big deal when we fought when this fight happened in Mega Man 3, because this is a fight from Mega Man 1. And it's kind of a cool little memory for us. Ooh, I should use an E-tank. I am swimming in them. So just one more hit, and we'll be good to go. That should do it. All right. We're getting there. We're almost done. And maybe some of you are thankful for that. All right, so we're moving through. This music's so good, I love it. Yeah, that's right. If there's one problem with maybe it's just because I'm really good at the game, and I don't mean that in a braggadocious way. Is that a word? Yeah, I think that is. I think that's the right way to say it. But I always found it a little too easy. Like, Mega Man 3 is a little too easy. It's a little too plentiful with the power-ups, and a little too plentiful, but maybe it's just the way I play. I don't know. Mega Man 2 is definitely way easier than this, but the games get harder from here. And obviously, the original Mega Man is the most difficult. All right, so we're moving through. So I'd love to hear in the comments for you guys too, if you're listening to this on Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving, or maybe even if you're listening to it before, what are your plans? What are you looking forward to? Ooh, I just got a lot of damage done to me. What's your favorite food, and what are you excited about? Are you excited to see your family? This is a tough time to travel. I'm thankful that I don't have to travel during Thanksgiving, because I always hated traveling during Thanksgiving. A lot of people think Christmas is the worst time to travel, but it isn't so. It's actually Thanksgiving, at least in the States. Obviously, I mean, Thanksgiving is, I should be clear, Thanksgiving is celebrated in other parts. Canada has their own Thanksgiving, for instance, but it is, this Thanksgiving that I'm talking about is very much American. So for you guys in Britain or whatever, you guys might be a little, 2 1-ups. Might be a little confused. But you know what we do here. You guys are familiar. So here you kind of have to just guess which one's the real one, which ones are fake. I almost had him. Got him. Okay. You can use top spin there too, by the way, and do away with it very quickly. So now, from here, we're going to go and fight the Robot Masters for Mega Man 3 again. Then we're going to fight Wily, and we're almost done. We're almost through. So I'm going to stop chattering, and we can just enjoy the gameplay as we get towards the end here. Alright, so I just had a little bit of an issue. Now for some reason I'm getting all these pop-ups. But I have like 4 PS4s, and this is not my primary PS4, so it disconnected from the internet. I'm sorry about that. But we fixed it. We fixed the problem. So we're moving through. That would have been a real shame if I wasn't able to get on the internet and we just didn't have the end of the video. That would have really sucked. But that is not the case. So as you know, every Mega Man game ends like this. Where we fight the Robot Masters again. So that's Needle Man down. Needle Dick. Oh man, I'm making myself laugh. Alright, Magnet Man. Now we fought Magnet Man the first time with the Arm Buster, but now we can use Spark Shock. And I'm telling you, there's something wrong with this controller. I'm not trying to make excuses here. But I am kind of making excuses. Nonetheless. Gemini Man? Gemini Man? He's down like a clown. Hardman? He's down. Toppin. Ooh. Oh, man. Am I going to be the first person in the world to ever die to Top Man? Nope. It wasn't so. Shadow Man down. Sparkman. Finally, we'll go to Snake Man. And unlike the last time, we'll have the Needle Cannon, so we'll be able to take care of him a little quicker. That opens up the door to the right. Now, what do we want here? We're going to need Top Spin. We're going to need Shadow Blades. We need Spark Shock, too. Okay. Rush Jet's full because we'll need that. I guess we should refill the Rush Coil just in case. We might need that as a backup. And we'll see what these give us. Nothing. Alright, here we go. Last fight. that's the end of that. And then what I like to do, not everyone likes to do this, but I like to do this. This is just use Rush Jet and just stay right there. But it's not really him, guys, so don't get excited. Wily's grateful that he created this dummy that eluded Mega Man. Alright, so do we have everything we need? I think we're in pretty good shape. We don't really need any of this stuff. Let's do the damn thing. This is Gamma, the peacekeeping robot, corrupted. Shadow Blades to get rid of half of his energy. And then we will need to wait to get up here. And here, we'll use Top Spin. And that's the end of the game. That's Mega Man 3. My favorite game of all time, the game I'm most grateful for and thankful for, the game that I'm grateful and thankful exposed me to the wide world of video games in such a deep and unending way, almost 30 years after it came out. I'm incredibly thankful, and I'm incredibly thankful for it because ultimately it allowed me to find all of you in such a roundabout way, because one of the very first things I ever did as a games writer when I was in high school was write a walkthrough for Mega Man 3, and it was through those walkthroughs for Mega Man and Castlevania and Dragon Warrior and etc. and so on that IGN found when I was just graduating high school and starting Northeastern, and they allowed me to find my way into a profession in 2002 that here in 2018 I am still in. And so I am so grateful and so thankful for that. And as we go into the ending here of Mega Man 3, I just want to reiterate, I am so grateful and so thankful for each and every one of you that supports me, that has supported me, that supports me casually or occasionally or every day. Whether you support me on Patreon, whether you support me just by subscribing or, like I said, telling your friends, listening every so often, keeping your ad block off, whatever the case might be. And again, I don't blame you if you skip ads. I'm not one of those. I don't blame you at all for that. But I'm just grateful and I'm thankful. And I wanted to make a video today to show that gratefulness and show that thankfulness. And my original idea was like, can I make a video of the things that I'm most grateful or thankful for in games or something? And I'm like, you know what? It's a little trite. I don't want to do that. I want to do this instead. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll let you watch the rest of the ending of Mega Man 3. I just want to let you guys know that I appreciate and love every one of you. I hope that you and yours have or had an amazing Thanksgiving. And as you go into this holiday season, I hope that you and yours remain healthy and well. I wish you all the most prosperity, the most success, and all of that as you move through. So thank you again. Much love from me and much love from Colin's Last Stand. I'll see you next time for more side quests, for more Let's Plays. Remember, you can tune in to Sacred Symbols, the PlayStation Podcast, Fireside Chats, the Eclectic Interview Series, Knock Back the Retro podcast as well. Lots of options out there for you. Thanks again. Take care.